Africa has the youngest population in the world, with 60% of the population under 25. Thinking about that, you're like, wow, there are so many young people. So, what's the future of Africa going to look like? Well, when you ask yourself that question, you have to think, well, how about we invest in the people who are looking after that generation? The women, the mothers. They are the first educators. So now let's invest in them so they have time to invest in that generation, also give them love.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Let's Give a Damn. I'm your host, Nick Lapara. I aim to share the stories of all kinds of amazing damn givers so that you'll be inspired to give more dams than ever before. I'm recording this super early in the morning, so forgive my morning voice. I'm probably not supposed to tell you that. It's not professional, right? What the hell? We're family. My guest today is the brilliant Omar Barou Togola. Omar was born in Mali, West Africa, but raised in Canada. British Columbia, to be specific. I won't be getting into his upbringing right now because I want him to share it, but you're going to want to pay close attention. It's an amazing story. As Omar grew up into a person who valued action over talk and someone who wanted to create solutions, he launched Farafina. Farafina means Africa in Bambara, the national language of Mali. Farafina's vision is simple and compelling: to share healthy, sustainable farmed food with the world while improving the lives of women farmers and their communities in Africa. They do this by partnering with over 850 African women farmers in 9 villages to bring nutrient-dense, African-grown products to Canadian tables. They're in hundreds of stores across Canada, and we hope to see them in the US very, very soon because I want to buy their products. Y'all, you're going to love Omar. I felt like I could talk with him for hours, but for your sake, however, we did not talk for hours. I know you're going to learn from Omar, you're going to be inspired, and you're going to be a better human as a result of this conversation. If not, I promise to give you your money back. Get it? You don't pay me, so just shut up and listen. I'm kidding. You can do whatever you want. I'm not the boss of you. But I highly recommend you spend some time with Omar and me. Ready? Here's my conversation with the founder of Farafina and all-around badass human, Omar Barou Togola. Let's go. I am super honored to have Omar Barou Togola on the line with me today. Omar, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, Nick?
I'm doing fantastic as well. I don't know what the weather's like in the Pacific Northwest right now, or I guess it would be you're in Vancouver, so you're in the what do you call that part of British Columbia?
I mean, well, I guess the West Coast.
The West Coast, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to live in the Pacific Northwest, so
Oh,
we
you
did
did.
four years in Tacoma, just south of Seattle. Went up to Vancouver many times. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah.
And we were guilty often of just lumping Vancouver in with the Pacific Northwest. So when we would talk about Vancouver people, we would say, "Oh, they're in the Pacific Northwest," and it's like, no, they're it's a whole different country. So technically, they're in the Southwest of it. So I had to catch myself there, catch my old ways.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was saying I live in Nashville, and it's one of the first days that feels like autumn here.
Oh, wow.
It's 60s all last week, and well, all of since the summer it's been 80s and 90s, and then just now we're getting into cool weather. So I'm
It's
enjoying.
beautiful over here.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure we've had several friends come and visit us over the last couple months, and they're talking about how amazing the weather is over there, and
Oh, it's pretty. We're very lucky here.
yes, yes. We don't know if we'll ever move back, Omar, but the weather makes us want to because there's no better weather than the Pacific Northwest or the Pacific Southwest of Canada.
I agree.
It's
I agree.
amazing.
That's why I've been here for so long.
Yeah. So let's start there before we get into what you're doing, which I'm so
Sure.
excited to talk about. Let's figure out who you are. So share with us a little bit of your story. You didn't grow up in Canada, so give us kind of as much as you want to the backstory of the who's, what's, when, where's, whys of Omar. Just give us a sense as to the kind of people, places, and things that brought you to this point.
So my name is Omar Barou Togola. I was born in Mali, West Africa, specifically in Bamako, the capital of Mali. I came to Canada in 2000 to pursue my education. So my parents wanted us to go somewhere else other than than Mali to kind of explore the world. I was very fortunate to have parents who were kind of open minded to the world and the kids experiencing different things. So when I was 16 years old, my parents, both of my parents, decided to send us to British Columbia in Victoria, Shawnigan Lake, to pursue education in high school, and without speaking a word of English. So
Wow.
it was it was challenging.
So wait, they didn't come with you?
No, my dad came with me for about a week,
Okay.
and he went back.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
So that makes it a little more intense that they just sent their kids to the western part of Canada from, West Africa. That's crazy.
yeah. I mean, it was very challenging. The first few months, obviously, I wanted to go back, because it was hard to communicate with people. But then, my dad always told me that, if you set your mind on something, you can always do it. Just make sure you try your best, because he was actually in my shoes probably 20 years prior to that. He obtained a scholarship from West Africa to go study in Utah, and he didn't speak any English. So, based on his experience, he wanted us to kind of experience the West, kind of make our own experiences. So that's why I came here in high school. I spent 2 years on Vancouver Island. And after that, I moved to Vancouver to pursue my education at a university here. So I studied business. After 5 years of university, I majored in finance and business. So I decided to kind of explore the world of employment. So that's when I started working, but I just I didn't love what I was doing. That's why I started Farafina. But my whole experience in Canada has been unbelievable. Like, I really feel blessed to have the parents that I do have. They did sacrifice everything for my siblings and myself to be in a position to make decisions for ourselves and really see the world for ourselves and make our own decision.
That's amazing. Are they still in Mali, West Africa?
Yeah, so my father worked for the United Nations for UNICEF
Okay.
for 23 years, and my mother is a midwife. So we left Mali when I was about 10 or 11 years old and went to Benin in West Africa. Was there for 4 years. Then my parents moved to Chad in Central Africa. And after that, so from Chad, I moved to Canada. My parents went to Burkina Faso in West Africa again. Because every 4 or 5 years, my dad would move to a different country. So then they retire about 5, 6 years ago. And my father could have lived anywhere in the world, but he decided to go back to the village where he was born in.
Why is that? That's fascinating. I mean, that's amazing. Why did he choose to go back there versus, like you said, anywhere else in the world he wanted to go?
Right. Well, he told us that he had already accomplished everything he wanted to do. He had an amazing job, got to travel the world, got to raise kids who were off exploring the world. So now he wanted to go back to his community where he was born to help people. He wants to dedicate it remaining of his life to really dedicating helping people at a village level, which is the same thing, exact same thing that his father did after World War II, after fighting for the French. He could have they offered him an amazing life in France, but he said, no, I'm going to go back and look after my people. So that's when he came back and became one of the youngest chief in his village. because once again, he wanted to be with his people, helping them have brighter future. So that's exactly what my dad did. That's what they're doing right now in Mali, helping women at a village level to have a brighter future.
Wow. So your parents are really solid models of, for the sake of this conversation, giving a damn. They're solid models of like, choosing people first, even over experiences.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it's always been about people. It's always been about people. It's never been about themselves. Sometimes, like I was telling you at the beginning, I'm very fortunate. It's not to put anybody on the pedestal. I really, they are role models for me. They are the reason why I started Farafina. Um, so if you look at my parents, being across the world from Mali, they always had a vision to go back to help people. So one now that they're doing it, it's making amazing difference in people's lives. So now they built about five commercialized Italian bakery in villages across Mali, and employing people who are earning way above the average wage, who are sending their kids to school not just in Africa but also abroad. So it's that whole model was what inspired me to really wanna, like you say, wanted to give a damn and you know uh, do make a difference in the world, because I was already blessed to be able to come to Canada, to be educated, to have a
Absolutely.
family here.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like I need to have your parents on the podcast at some point then.
I know you do.
Like that's super fun. And I'm a father of three children. Mine are young right now. My wife and I have three kids. Their ages 4, 5, and 6. So they're young and we're busy and all that. But like I always tell people, as I try to articulate my legacy and my future, I have all these dreams and aspirations. I have 4 companies that I, run right now and all these different things that are happening, right? But I always say to them, not as a way of patting myself on the back, but as a way of reminding myself of this great truth that my greatest legacy will be that my kids do a much better job at giving a damn than I'm doing. Right? Like that's what it's all about. Like sure, it'd be great to, make a lot of money and help a lot of people and start great companies that make a difference and have an impact on the world. But I will be the proudest man ever if my kids do an infinitely better job at loving people and impacting the world than I have. Like that to me is a job well done because that's how we get better, right?
I
If every
agree.
generation gets better and better versus gets worse and worse, right?
I completely agree, and that's the reason why. When you take a look at Farafin, this is the reason why my parents are still highly involved in Farafina. I mean, they're retired. They could have just had a very very easy life, just relaxing. But now, once we started Farafina, they wanted to be a part of it, running all the operations in Mali. So it kind of speaks volume of what needs to be done in this amazing continent. So we are really ready to tell the story of these amazing farmers. It's a partnership. It's not nobody's working for Farafina. We have a collaboration. We work together. We better each other together. It's that togetherness that's the strongest thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We're about 3 minutes away from talking about Farafina, but before we do, because I'm so excited you've mentioned it, and I'm real excited to even see how your parents fit into all of this. But before we get there, I want to just riff on something for a second because it's come up a few times now. I can see different things about you that I really like and that are kind of similar to my story. So I grew up. My dad is Guatemalan. I was born here in the U.S., but we lived in Guatemala for 10 years, and then I spent 7 more years after that traveling around the world, 30 plus countries, and I attribute those 16, 17 years of being outside the U.S or and not just outside the US, but just traveling the world, seeing different people, places, and things, I directly attribute that to why I feel so strongly about living an impactful life, giving a damn, because I was able to get out and see different types of people. I one of my biggest gripes with, and it's, it's my birth country, so I think I have the right to do this. But one of my biggest gripes with America is that you will find so many people that they dislike, or even stronger, they hate, or they can't get along with certain types of people or ideas. And then when you dig into their story, you find out that they've never been out of a 4-state radius, or that
Right.
their parents always took them to Disney World or Disneyland for vacation, instead of saying, "Hey, we're going to go to Mali, or we're going to go to Portugal, or we're going to go to Iceland, or we're going to go to Mexico for our vacations," because that's like, the world is at our fingertips. That's like, it's probably more expensive to go to Disney World than it is to a lot of countries, right?
Yeah,
And
I
so,
completely agree.
yeah, you just stay, you're born in whatever, Florida or Mississippi, and you go to Disney World for vacation, whichever one is in Florida. I don't even know or care. But whichever one is there, and then you just like go back home, and you stay in your little circle of influence. So you don't know any better when you say, "Oh, I dislike, like, we don't need any more immigrants or more refugees, or that's not right, or that's not right, or we're becoming more, you know, diverse and less white." All these things, if I was to, go into their story, many of them have never even left the 4-state radius, let alone their country, the US, to go somewhere else.
I mean, I completely agree. I think traveling the world, even within Africa alone, going to different countries with so many, I mean, different
Absolutely.
cultures. Just to kind of give you an idea, Mali alone, Mali has over, I would say, like over 40 different languages, not dialects, languages,
Amazing.
right? This is just one country. So, there's so many different cultures. Like, for example, my parents come from a different, ethnic group. My father is Bambara. My mother is Pearl, and the Pearl descendant from Ethiopia. So it's like there's so many mixing of people there. So by traveling from country to countries in Africa, you experience complete different cultures, different people. So traveling within Africa, has opened, our eyes to the reality of what's going on in Mali. And the realities of Mali are very different than realities of Benin and realities of Chad and Burkina Faso and so on and so forth, right? So it's like seeing all of that and coming to Canada, they're just, you feel very blessed
Hmm.
to really, to travel, to see that, to see all of that, and see people from different backgrounds and interacting with people from different backgrounds. It is a beautiful thing, because it's not just about you and your people. You have a global way of thinking right now. You have a worldly view. So it's amazing to travel, to see people from different culture and interact with them.
Yeah, I'm super glad that you have that same kind of worldview and perspective. And for everybody listening, I've heard so many times, "I can't afford to do that," or "There's no way I can do that. I only get 2 weeks of vacation a year. I don't make enough money to do that." You can make it happen. Like, I really, really believe that. Not everybody. I understand there are situations, but stop going to the movies as much. Cancel a few, subscriptions that you don't need. Stop going out to eat so much. Like, all of these things add up, and if you want to, like, seriously, like, a vacation in, Portugal or something like that is comparable to so many of the vacations that so many people take to the same place, the same beach house in South Carolina, or the same whatever. Like, just try to think bigger and try it once, because I guarantee you, not everybody, I guess, but like most people, if you leave the US and go somewhere amazing, to people that are totally different than you will want to do it again and again and again.
I
Um,
agree.
and so,
I completely agree.
yeah, so I want to encourage everybody to, think about that, take a look at that, and your worldview, your ability to give more dams will expand as you meet people, different ethnic background, different religious background, different skin color, and like you said, it's so, like, here in the U.S. we get so, I can't, I honestly can't stand the extreme nationalism that I see. I'm super fine with people being, you know, patriots. Like, yes, love your place, love your country. I'm fine with that. But when you love what you are so much that you fail to be a citizen of the world first,
Yeah.
then I think that's a problem. I think that's a big problem, and it's the impetus behind so many divisions and wars and disagreements and racism and xenophobia and all these things come up because we see ourselves as better than the other, that person, that people.
Yeah, there. I mean, when you just look at everything that's going on in the world, I truly believe that people have to start thinking that we're all, yeah, we're just all part of one family. That's a human family.
Yeah,
You know, aside of aside from our, lifestyle and background and all of that, if you look deep inside, we're all the same, just different colors. We're all the same, you know.
I love it.
So it's unfortunate that people think differently, but I mean, not to judge, I don't, not to judge anyone at all, but I just love having tough and hard conversations.
Yes.
It's not about disagreeing with people, but it's just about expressing your worldview versus somebody else's and sitting down, having those tough conversations. And at the end of those conversation being able to, hug each other and, go by your lives.
Yep.
That's, I just feel like that's how we should live our lives.
Beautiful. I love that. Thank you for sharing some of your life. I love where you came from, who you've become, all of that. Your parents, I want to meet and hug your parents. I think they're amazing. I'm also, we could have a whole other conversation about, I'm pretty anti, not pretty, I would say more than pretty anti. I'm mostly anti retirement
Right.
because I mean, like if you want to even go, like I get it, you've worked all your life, blah blah blah. But if you even look at like the science and the biology of our body, we are made to, like, we're made to work, we're made to love, we're made to love people, we're made to be active, right? And it's been proven over and over and over again that as soon as you retire and kind of mentally, emotionally, physically give up and stop working, you increase your rate of mortality. Like you're going to die sooner that way versus if you put your hand to the plow and be active. And I'm not saying you have to work 40, 50 hours a week till the day you die, but just continuing to create, continuing to figure out what your place is. So we could talk for we could continue talking because you have firsthand examples of parents who could, like you said, they could just be chilling, right? But I guarantee you, unless there's some, like, freak accident or something unnatural, but if they die of natural death, they have just they have just expanded their life 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like they're going to live longer because they're continuing to be creative and love people, and they're continuing to display empathy toward other people. Like that helps you live longer. It just does.
I agree. And I just feel like with the way they live their lives right now, that's why I tell people that I have no excuse not to get up every day and go to work because of what they're doing back,
Yeah.
in Mali, given everything they've done in their life so far. I have no excuses. So it's like they're doing so much, and I'll talk about more of that, in a little bit. But it's just that I'm very lucky to be where I am right now with the support of loved one, family, and everybody else who was a part of Farafina.
Amazing. So Farafina, give us the origin story. How did it start? What were kind of the steps that it took to start? And then give us the. I mean, I might interrupt you with a question here and there, but
Oh
just
yeah,
give
no
give us
problem.
the whole. Just give us the whole thing. I'm so fascinated by social enterprise work, and this is a beautiful one. I mean, it's kind of a holistic. It's helping everybody involved. So give it to me.
So Farafina, which means Africa in Bambara. That's like the national language of Mali. We are, like as you say, we are a social enterprise that works with the women farmers in Africa to provide nutritious food, sustainably conscious consumers.
Hmm.
So the company started in 2013, and I was kind of fed up with what I was doing. I was working at a tax recovering firm. Not loving what I was doing. I consulted with my parent and my uncle to see what I could do because I just didn't feel fulfilled. I wanted to do something to give back. Even though, I had just started working, I just wanted to give back. And I just felt like, that's my mission on this earth, to just really give back to people, because there's so many things that I'm so grateful that I had. So now what can I do to give back to the people of Mali, of Africa? So I had a bunch of ideas that I just threw at my parents. And they were like, you know what, these are great ideas, but how about you start thinking of something that you could start without a lot of money? How about producing stuff in Africa and see if you can sell them in North America? I'm like, oh wow, that's a great idea.
Hmm.
What can we do? Like, well, we have hundreds and hundreds of hectares of land as a family. So how about you start exploring those? I'm like, okay, sure. So that's when we start coming up with a list of different products that we could potentially bring here. We did a little bit of market research. Then my mother said, well, this would be a great opportunity to connect with the people of Mali. I'm like, okay, sure. So now I wanted to go a step further. I wanted to only engage with women
Hmm.
farmers. I was like, okay, so that's a fascinating idea. Why women farmers? I'm like, well, if you think about it, I'm being biased here, but I feel like my mother is probably one of the strongest women I
Hmm.
know in my life. Whenever she comes into a room, you just feel her presence, and knowing that everything she did for us growing up, and that force, and all the things she was able to change culturally in Mali. I'm like, you know what? I feel like everybody deserves to have somebody like that in their lives. So then we started, conversing and seeing how we could work with these women farmers. But I told them, the mistake that a lot of people make is to go to Africa with the right intentions, but just tell people, well, this is what we would like to do for you. This is what we like to,
Yep.
they go with a plan,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
But I'm like, even though I'm from there, I was born there. I mean, that's where I'm from. Like, you know what? We are going to do things differently. How about we go sit down with these farmers, consult with them, and see what they need help with, and see if we can and how we can help them. Consultation is a big thing, and I really believe in hearing people out before offering anything. So
Hmm.
that's when we sat down with the farmer to figure out what can we do for you. And the main reason why I wanted to work with women farmers is because of how things are in Africa. I mean, this is not an African issue; it's a global issue. But if you think about how women are treated in Africa, women don't have a lot of voices, and they are the first people to get up in the morning and the last to go to bed. They provide for the families. They look after the kids, look after the husbands, go to the farms, work all day, come back home, make dinner, put the kids to bed, and do it again the next day.
Yeah.
So why, when we want to invest in those people, they love doing what they're doing. So how about we make life a bit easier for them so they actually can invest in the next generation? Since they are the rock of the family, investing in them is the biggest thing we can do as an African. Like I'll always tell people that Africa has the youngest population in the world, with 60% of the population under 25.
Wow.
Thinking about that, you're like, wow, there are so many young people. So what are they gonna? What's the future of Africa going to look like? Well, when you ask yourself that question, you have to think, well, how about we invest in the people who actually who are looking after that generation, the women, the mothers. They are the first educators. So now let's invest in them so they have time to invest in that generation. Also give them love. This continent has so much potential. So that's why I was just telling my mom, you know what? Let's consult with the women farmers and see what we can do. I mean, this was a very strange concept because in Mali things are not done that way. But I wanted to hear from them what they wanted and see how we could help them. So the first year of Harafina, we started with about 15 women, and the following year we increased to 50 women. And 4 or 5 years later, we are working with over 850 women in 9 different villages.
Incredible.
I would never take credit of any of that because it's not my doing. Farafina is a platform for these women to tell their story. We are just that channel sharing their story with the world, because I feel like Africa has some amazing resources. I mean, I don't like to get involved in politics or anything like that. When people hear of Africa, they kind of see a completely different side of it.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about famine, war, and all of that. And I'm like, you know what? That's one way of looking at it. If you look on the flip side, the natural resources, this untapped continent, not a country, this untapped
Yeah.
continent has so much to offer. And this is what we want to be able to share with the world. These amazing, strong women producing amazing, nutritious products for the world. So that's why I couldn't just sit and just, and stay quiet about how people view Africa, because I mean that's their opinion. And I cannot just sit and just be sad about it and sad
Sure.
about how the world views Africa. No, no, no. I can do something about that, right?
Yes.
So that's why, you know, I kind of put together a team. My best friend was one of those people who I approached in the early days of Farafina, and I told him about the vision, what I wanted to do, and right away he told me that, you know what, Omar, I'm 100% with you. This is somebody I met the first day I landed in Canada. So we went to high school together, you know, went to university and everything at the same time. And till today, he's one of my closest friends. So him having a completely different background, coming from Bolivia, um, you know, seeing that vision and actually could relate to it. I wanted to actually bring people from different backgrounds to come together for one common goal, as men standing up and talking about this topic of women. I have a son, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I want my son one day to understand the value of his mother and the value of women in our societies. Because if we were to really, as a society, if we were to invest in the women and give them the value they deserve, this world will be a very, very different place, in the future. So that's what we are doing with Farafina, connecting the world to Africa through the power of food.
So, what do you make and where does it go?
So with the farmers that we work with, we they produce different products. So we have a grain, fonio grain, one of the oldest grain in the world. And fonio is naturally gluten free, is high in iron, zinc, and these women grow fonio. But the fascinating thing with fonio is that fonio grows on marginalized land, so it doesn't need anything.
Oh, wow.
In the raining season, you just throw this thing on the ground and it grows. And this is one of the grains that people are talking could actually solve the issue of famine in Africa, because it can grow anywhere. So it's like, so we make the fonio. These women grow the fonio. We bring it to Vancouver. We package it as a grain. We mill it down as a flour for baking. Also, we have the baobab fruit powder, which is one of the healthiest fruit out there. Baobab is high in antioxidant, vitamin C, and potassium. And people use it in the smoothies, and we also have moringa leaf powder. So this is just we only have 4 SKUs right now that we sell on the North American market, but there are so many other products that we are looking forward to bringing to the world, really, which are produced by, once again, by these amazing women farmers.
Are these products available? I know they're in quite a few stores. Is it just in Canada, or can you ship them, or what does that look like?
We currently sell our products in about 500 to 600 stores across Canada,
Hmm.
in the Loblaw stores, Whole Foods, Save On, and a lot of the retail stores in Canada. In the U.S., we are not in the U.S. yet, but our plan is to definitely get in there sometime next year.
Wonderful. Well, when you do, I will buy all of this stuff. Fonio looks really, when you describe fonio, the perfect grain, and I love that it's gluten free. and we're a vegetarian, almost vegan family. So we're always looking for kind of like those power foods that
Right, right.
have so much in them. And I don't know. I'm trying to think if I've ever even seen fonio in a store here. Like I don't even know if you can get it. Do you know if you can get it in the U.S. or are you guys one of the first kind of bringing it over?
Well, I believe you can get it in the States, but I a lot of our online customers are American actually,
Got
so
it.
that's the reason why we want to really expedite everything to get on the shelves in the U.S. as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I think these three things would be a super big hit. Farafina, amazing. Like I mean, 850 women that now have, you know, that jobs and they're being valued. I love going back a few minutes. I love how you described your process in kind of getting to the point where you're like, oh, and I want to focus on women because of again, this is a global problem, but it is it's a global issue, but it is an issue there where the women so much is put on them, right? And they're taking care of, they have the husband and the kids and the home and inside and outside the home, cooking, cleaning, everything, and they're amazing. They're amazing humans that they have such an ability to work and create and innovate, and in certain cultures getting that out of them is just wasted. Like they're not given the time, space, and energy to work in those ways a lot of times. And so you focusing on that is brilliant. And I'm excited that there's still hundreds of thousands, million, not hundreds of thousands, millions, hundreds of millions of women that you've not been able to help yet. But
Right.
850, that's an enormous number. That's 850 homes and communities and villages that are being transformed.
It's true. Like when I think about it, by helping, by working with just one woman, you're changing lives of at least five people and their communities, right?
Yes.
So this is like in Africa how things are done. You know, there are communities, and the impact affect the entire community, and that's what we want to do. We want people to. We are Farafina, but we don't want to be the only people doing this. We want people to join force with us. You know, Africa can scare a lot of people, but you have to look at a complete different side of Africa. The opportunities in Africa right now, like I was saying, being having the youngest population, having all the untapped resources, right? We don't have to get into politics. You can work at a village level with the people who actually care about their land, people who actually care about the environment. Growing these amazing products without using any sort of pesticide or anything. That is sustainable farming. So that's what we want to encourage people to look at, explore, try to understand, ask the hard questions. I would never shy away from answering anything, but I just want the world. I want people to see Africa for what it is, which is this amazing continent with amazing resources. And on top of all of that, women should always be our focus really. This is because I went to Mali 3 years ago, and I'm actually going there in about almost exactly a month from today
Awesome.
for a month with my family. We were there 3 years ago, sitting down with these women farmers and talking to them. Since partnering up with Farafina, what changed in our lives? And seeing them sitting there crying, you know, us, sitting across from them crying because it's just they tell you exactly what they were doing.
Yep.
Walking 10 kilometers each way to go to the nearest village to sell their product on a local market, and walking back home with maybe 25 cents to 50 cents at the end of the day. I mean, that's so painful. It was so painful to even listen to it,
Yeah.
right? So they walk to the villages, harvest everything from the farms, bring it home, and every Wednesday they go to the market to sell it. But everybody's selling the same thing.
Right.
So that's why they don't earn any money from it. So that's what we told them. You know what? We will come to your village so you don't have to walk anywhere. No more walking 20 kilometers to sell your product on a local market. We are going to open this global market for you. We will come every 2 weeks to your village so you don't have to walk, buy whatever you harvest from you every couple weeks. And on top of that, we will provide an equipment that does 200 kilograms of fonio an hour versus manually doing 5 kilograms an hour. Why is that? Because time is the most important thing
Yeah, it is.
that they don't have.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the time because they're doing everything else. So, as a company, working with them, making them more efficient. So, whatever you harvest, you put it in this machine, it does everything for you. And a couple weeks later, we'll be there with our trucks picking them up from you. So you don't have to do anything at all. What does that create? More time with the family, more love to be given to the children, and focusing on themselves because they do deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we are doing in Mali with the women farmers.
It's beautiful. So imagine all of the Let's Give a Damn listeners, the people listening to this podcast right now, sitting in front of you, and you get a few minutes to, I guess, convince them that living a damn filled life is the best way to live. What sort of advice, if you were just to give like short, 2 or 3 pieces of advice based on your life and experiences and the work that you're doing, and the people in front of you, right? The people that listen to this podcast want to give a damn. They are either already giving dams or they're trying to figure out how to be more generous or loving or to actually stop talking about stuff and to be put actionable steps in place in their lives. What would you share with those people in the room today? Just some pieces of advice.
I would just say that the best way to live your life is to give a damn about everything else and kind of exclude yourself out of that. Because when you focus on yourself, you kind of you're limited. Once you kind of start involving others, wanting to do things for others, that's when you feel fulfilled.
Hmm.
One thing that I know is guaranteed for sure in not just in my in general. One thing that's guaranteed in life is that we will not be here one day.
Mm-hmm.
We are gonna go one day. All the money you make in the world, you're not gonna take it with you. So what are you gonna do with it? We want to leave this world a better place than we found it. And how do we do that? By focusing on others. So I do give a damn about education of women. I do give a damn about how women are treated in this world. And as a man, as somebody who was a son, like I said before, I want him to grow up and understanding that, you have to respect women, you have to put them first so that they can actually have all the tools necessary to look after next generation. It's a partnership. Men and women are equal on all aspects of life. And this is not a fad, this is a reality. If you see everything going on in the world right now, this movement is not going to end until that equality is actually becomes real. So giving a damn, this is what I want to, I want to live my life like that. I want my kids to live, you know their lives like this as well. So Africa is what I understand. That's where my heart and soul are. That's that's what I understand. And sitting across, from these women, hearing their story, knowing what they've done for generation, I just feel it's so unfair as a world. No one deserves to live life like that. We have to do something. We have to be better. You know, by being here, by talking to you today, I feel blessed in
Hmm.
this world. So my mission right now is to make sure that the world hears their stories and understand all the amazing resources that Africa has to offer.
Hmm.
And all these resources are produced by who? By these amazing women. So it's just really a collaboration that I want people to join force with us on. This is the mission. Let's join force. Let's come together, as a citizen of this world and wanting to make a difference. It's an African issue. That's because that's how I see it. But it's not just Africa. It's a global issue. We have to come together and understand the value of each person in this world. So living a fulfilled life, you always have to focus on others, because right now I feel very blessed to be here to to live the life I live. So I am gonna make it a goal of mine to make sure that these women and this next generation of Africans are better off.
Well, thank you for modeling that sort of a life for us. I really, truly appreciate that. As we begin to wrap up, Omar, is there anything that I haven't asked you that you want me to?
Well, I like right now, Farafina is it's my goal is to make this brand a household brand. Farafina is we are in storage in Canada today, but I want this company to be a household brand, because at the end of the day, by purchasing these amazing products, feeding your family amazing product, amazing nutritious product, you're also starting these hard conversations by having these packages on your dining table or your kitchen cabinet. People, by seeing the pictures of these women on these packages, are going to ask questions. So why did you purchase this? So then you can have this conversation, this hard conversation started, you know, about women in our societies, about Africa, this tough conversation. And we just want to be able, as an African, I want to be able to, I want this is an opportunity for me to educate the world on Africa, and sharing our amazing culture and our amazing food with the world.
Wonderful. Well, I will put all of links and details in the show notes. Omar, Barou, Togola, this was a fantastic conversation. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and let's. I want to go to Mali. I want to go to Mali. Let's figure it out so
Let's make it
so
happen.
I can join you on one of the trips. I'd love to see the work going on there. This is a bad time to bring this up because we're wrapping up, but I spent 6 weeks in Zambia a few years ago, and I love the continent of Africa. I loved everything about it. Again, I've been on almost every continent, 30 plus countries.
Right.
I've been to a lot of places, and I can't tell you how much I enjoyed. And obviously, Zambia and Mali and all these countries you've mentioned are completely different cultures.
Right.
But there's a cohesive, beautiful thing about Africa that I just love, love, love. And it was. I'll always look on those weeks with great love and fondness, because I've always wanted. Not every country that I've been to have I wanted to I've got to go back there.
Right.
But when I think about Zambia and when I think about the larger continent of Africa, I'm like, man, I want to live there. I want to be there. I want to go back. I just need to go back. So let's make it happen sometime.
Please, let's make it happen. We'll connect for sure.
Wonderful. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Dear friends, I cannot wait until Farafina's products are available here in the US. I also can't wait to go to Mali with Omar. I also can't wait to hear what you think about this episode. So hit me up on social media at Nick Lapara. I'd love to hear your thoughts and takeaways. For all links and information regarding this particular conversation with Omar, head over to podcast.letsgiveadamn.com. That's podcast.letsgiveadamn.com. Thanks for all the ways you continue to support this show, friends. Keep going. Tell a friend. Leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Give $1 or $5 at patreon.com/letsgiveadamn. You're awesome. This podcast was edited by the incredible Chad Snavely. Our music is by our amazing friend Propaganda. Thanks once again for joining me. Same day, same time next week. Peace.